Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is video number 10 in a series on how to design a PRS guitar in Fusion 360. In this video, I'm going to get into how I create inlays on a fretboard using a fret slot bit. So if you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. If you want access to the Fusion files, my Patreon site is referenced in the comments below. And please send me questions, comments, suggestions on what to do next, etc. So I'd love to hear more from the people who are viewing these videos. So anyway, let's get started. So here's a image of a fretboard with some weather-related fret markers. So I've got sun, partly cloudy, cloudy, rain, and sunrise or sunset at the 12th fret. So I'm going to show you how I do these. I'll do a couple of them in this video. And here I've already jumped ahead and done them in Fusion. So I'm going to back up on my timeline. I think that's the appropriate spot. And I'm just going to delete all this stuff out of my timeline and then we can recreate it. Okay, so the first thing I did was I got this artwork just searching on Google for line art, weather line art, and found a series that had, some matching line art. And then I went to my file here and created a folder in my PRS folder and called it Weather Inlays. And then I actually uploaded a bunch of PNGs, and you can see them here on the left-hand side. So I'm going to start by making a canvas and with these pieces of artwork, and then trace over it with Fusion tools, and then eventually that will be cut with a very narrow bit. I use the same bit that I use for cutting fret slots. So this works out pretty nice in that you can do some nice patterns, and then what I do is I just fill those slots with epoxy. So I'm going to start here. I'm in my fretboard component. That's activated. Actually, I'm going to go back one more spot here. Okay, so that's kind of where we left off last time. I've got the neck and the body and all that, but I've hidden those things. So I've got just the fretboard showing and the fretboard active. Okay, so now I'm going to go to Insert and pick Canvas. And then I can choose any of these PNGs in this folder. I'm going to pick Sunny. So we'll do the 3rd fret first. Now it wants a face to put these on. So this is a little problematic in that we've already cut the radius. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pick the bottom of the fretboard to put it on. And we're getting a warning that this would not be visible, but we'll just go ahead and do this. Okay, so here's our canvas folder, which was hidden. So now there's a single canvas in the folder. And you can see that it's not in the position I want, and it's a little bit too big too. So what I'm going to do is right click on this canvas and go to Edit, and then I'll be able to use these arrows to move it around. So I'm going to move it roughly in my fret 3 position. I'll take a top view of this, and then I can see this is really too big. So I'm going to scale this down to something that looks pretty close. I'd say that's pretty good. I'm not going to worry about centering this yet. I'm going to actually do the Fusion sketch, and it'd be much easier to center that than try to approximate sketching this artwork that I'm just going to trace over. So let's go ahead and do an OK. If you like the size of this, what I would suggest doing is, again, right-clicking on the canvas and do a calibrate, and then do 2 clicks, simulating the diameter of the sun. And I think I'm going to do 0.375, make that a little bit smaller. And sometimes it's better to start at the higher frets. You know, if you're going to do something that's consistent, like you want the sun to be the same size in each one of these fret artworks. So, you know, the lower frets, you're going to start to run out of room. So I'm going to make this 3/8 of an inch. And now I'm going to create a sketch. And again, I think we're going to create a sketch on this bottom plane because I've got nothing flat to select here to do a sketch. So I'm going to go to Create Sketch. I'm going to select the bottom of the fretboard. And that kind of spun us around here. So let's reorient. Okay. So now I can see that, but I'm not seeing my fret markers. So I'm going to go into my sketches and turn on slots. And then I'm going to turn the body off. So now we can see, okay, here's fret 1, fret 2, fret 3. So we're in the right spot. And we can see our artwork. So I'm going to go ahead and name the sketch first. And I'll call this F3 Inlay. And then I'll go up to circle. And I know that I calibrated this circle to be 3/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to start roughly in the center here and type in 0.375. Okay. And then I'm going to get my line tool by pressing L. And what I want is I want to come out right from the center. So if I hover over the center here, I kind of get a guide. And now I'm intersecting at 3 o'clock essentially. So I'll come out here with a sun ray, and I've kind of played around with this before, and I think I want 0.1 as my length here. So now there's 12 rays coming out of the sun. So instead of trying to figure out where all those rays are, I'm going to do a circular pattern. So I'm going to go up to Create and go down to Circular Pattern. And now it's telling me to select the object that I want to pattern. So I want to pattern this ray and select the center point of our circle. And then I can type in 12 as the number. So they're nicely arranged there. And then just click on OK. So that's pretty straightforward. Now all we have to do is center this both horizontally and vertically between these two fret slots. So I should be able to get my line tool and get a center on these slots, but these slots are not in my current sketch. I'm seeing them come in from this slots sketch. So in order to be able to snap to them and get the center point, I'm going to have to project those into the current sketch. So I'm going to select, click, shift click, hit P for project. I've got two selected. So I'll go ahead and project those in. And now when I get my line tool, I am getting a center line there, or center marker, and center there. And I'm going to hit Escape and then click on this and press X for construction geometry. Okay, so now I can use the midpoint constraint. I want the midpoint of this line, which is, you know, the half distance between the two fret markers. I want the sun to align to that. So I'll go to midpoint, and let's get this circle midpoint, and it looks like it, well, I'm not sure what it did there. All right, so I'm going to undo that and undo one more time. Okay, so I'm going to go to midpoint. I'm going to click on the line and then the circle. And there we go. I guess that's what I had last time. I guess I was just getting thrown off with the canvas not being in the right spot. Okay, so I'm going to finish the sketch. And now I don't want my canvas on, but I do want to see my sketches. So I want to see my F3 Inlay sketch and my slots. So there it is. It is horizontally and vertically centered. Okay, so let's do one more, and then I'll show you, how to actually extrude this into the fretboard. So that's what we want on fret 3. Let's see what I had here. I had partly cloudy or partly sunny on fret 5. So I'm going to go back to my file panel. So it looks like mostly sunny. I don't know if there's any difference between these two. I'm going to pick mostly sunny. So I'm going to go to Canvas and pick mostly sunny and insert. And I need to select a face to insert it on. So I'm going to turn the fretboard body back on, and we're viewing the bottom of this. We don't see the fret slots. So I'm just going to click on that face. And now you can see it came in upside down. So I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees, and I can move it. And at this point, I don't want to see the body. So I'm going to hide the fretboard body, but I've got my fret slots visible so I can kind of see where I want this to go. So there is fret 5 essentially. I'm going to go ahead and just do an OK here instead of trying to scale it. And then I'm going to right click on the mostly sunny canvas and do a calibrate. And I'm going to set this sun to be the same size as this sun at F3. So if I go from this point to this point, that's the circle's diameter. And I'll type in 3/8 of an inch, 0.375. And there we go. Okay. So again, I'm not going to worry about centering the image, the canvas. I'll just draw over it and then I'll center everything that I'm drawing. Okay, so we have to start with a sketch. So I'm going to close the data panel down. Let's turn our body back on. There it is. And I can pre-select that surface, go up to create sketch, and it created the sketch. Let's zoom back in. Okay. Now I'm going to hide the body again, so it's a lot easier to see the image. I'll go up to circle and try to start in the center of the circle, but we can move this pretty easily. And type in 0.375. So that's going to be the same size sun as above. And I'm going to do the same trick with the rays. I'll start here in the center, get an intersection on the edge, and then come out and type in 0.1. Okay, so again, we're going to do the circular pattern. So I go up to create circular pattern. I pick this ray, and then I pick the center point of the circle. And we want 12 rays. But we don't want these rays down here inside the clouds. So what you can do is turn this suppression check mark on. And now you have little check marks here that you can turn off these individual patterned pieces. So that's a really nice little trick. Instead of having to come in later and delete those. So we still have this spacing for 12 of them, but we've eliminated a few. So I'll do an OK there. So very quickly, we've got our sun rays done. Now these clouds, I think arc is the best way to go with these. So I'm going to go up to my 3-point arc, and I'm going to intersect the circle here. And then, so I click there, I'm going to click here, and then I can drag this. I'm going to intersect here, second click here. So you can see this is pretty nice for doing clouds. I can get nice little curves out of this very quickly. And then I think I'm just going to draw a single line from here out and hit escape, and then another line, L for line, another horizontal line here. Okay. Now, the trick with this is this all going to move at the same time? I'm not sure about that, because this is coincident with our circle. Well, let's see. Let's just drag the circle, and here we can see that no, the clouds are not coming with it. So we would either have to somehow constrain this so that they are going to come, or just simply move the clouds later. So I think I'm going to center the circle and then just move the clouds. So same trick here. I'm going to press L for line. Oh, I've got nothing to snap to, so I'm going to hit P for project and project these 2 fret slots into my current sketch. And actually, you know, these probably could and should be construction geometry. So I just clicked on them and pressed X, and I'm not getting, oh, I guess since these are projected in, I thought I'd be able to go to construction, but it's not happening. Anyway, okay. So I'm going to press L for line. Now I am snapping in the middle. So I'm in the midpoint of this fret slot, and then I draw a line to this midpoint. I can make this construction, so I click on it and press X. All right, so now, same trick as we did before. We want midpoint. So I'm going to get my midpoint constraint, select this line, and select the center of the circle. Watch out, you don't want this arc. You want the circle right here. Okay, so now the circle is aligned. But now we kind of lost our artwork. So I think what I'm going to do is finish the sketch. I mean, we didn't lose our artwork, but it's, you know, misaligned. So I'm going to go back into Mostly Sunny and do an edit canvas. And then we'll be able to move Mostly Sunny where it aligns with, you know, the sketch that we've been working on. And then do an OK. And then go back into the sketch we're working on. And I guess we might as well rename this, while we're at it, to F5 Inlay. Okay, and right click on that and do an edit sketch. And now, let's see, can I double click on everything here? So I'm holding the shift key down and clicking or double clicking to select all of the cloud artwork. And then I can move it around. We do have a coincident here. So I'm actually going to just drag the points around a little bit. That's another thing you can do. So I'm in the sketch and I'm just taking these points of the arcs and just moving them around so that they match the artwork a little bit better. And again, it doesn't really matter if you match the artwork. It just matters that, you know, you like what you've got here. We're going to eventually hide the artwork. Okay, so let's do that. Let's hide the canvases. Take a look at this. Kind of zoom out. If we want to see the sketch without all of this other stuff here, we can hide our constraints and hide our dimensions. And we've got a better idea of what this is going to look like. So I'm going to finish this sketch. So now we have 2 sketches. I'll let you figure out how to do the rest. But we've got 2 sketches on the bottom of the fretboard. Okay. So when we're extruding these, I think what we're going to do here, let's turn our body back on. We're actually going to extrude it up to this surface, which has already been radiused. And when you do an extrusion to an object, the extrusion will take the shape of the object. So I think it's actually convenient that it worked out that we put the sketches on the bottom of the fretboard. Okay. So now I'm going to work on fret 3 inlay. And I'm going to make a new body by extruding this sketch up to this top surface. So I'm going to go into extrude, and I'm going to pick thin extrude, and then we've got to select the circle and our 12 rays around the outside. So remember, we're starting the extrude from the bottom of the fretboard here. So what I want to do, once this is all selected, is I want to start from the profile plane, which is our sketch plane. We're going one-sided. We're going to do an extent type of to object and come up here. That's our object. And instead of doing a cut, I'm going to do a new body. And I'm going to make the wall thickness, the thickness of that fret cutting router bit. But here you can see our body. Oh, the other thing I want to do is set this to center. Okay. You can see that the body's going from the bottom of the fretboard to the top. So this would be a really deep slot, and we don't want that. So instead of starting at the profile plane, I'm going to start at an offset from the profile. So my arrow's pointing up, so I can do a positive offset, and I'll do 0.2. Since it was 0.25, no, looks like I need to do a negative 2. Yeah, there we go. It's 0.25 for the thickness of the fretboard. So, it's kind of working backwards here, but we're coming up 0.2 from the bottom, which means we're going down 0.05 from the top before this thing was radiused. So let's go ahead and create the new body and see if we get something. So it's kind of hard to see here, but you can see that there are 2 bodies in our fretboard right now. So if I hide body 1, you will see that's what we've got. That's essentially the inlay. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the sketch. And I'm going to go to Appearance right now. And I'm going to just type in black. Search for something that's black here. Not getting anything. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Black chrome, black enamel. I think, yeah. All right, I'm just going to pick this black enamel, and I'll bring this into the body. So there's our inlay simulating a slot being filled with black epoxy. If I turn the other body on, you can see that they're kind of fighting each other. The surfaces are, because we haven't cut a slot for this inlay to sit in. So I'm going to go up to Combine, and our target for this cut is going to be the fretboard. Our tool is going to be the body that we just created, this inlay body. We're going to do a cut operation, and we're going to keep our tools. So now you can see it looks great, and if I turn this body off, here's the slot that's going to get cut and essentially filled to look like this once the epoxy goes in. Okay, so let's do that one more time on fret 5. But I'm going to come in here first and name this F3 inlay. So that's the F3 inlay body. Okay, so we're going to do the same operation here. This time we want fret 5 inlay sketch to be visible. And again, this is on the bottom of the fretboard. So I'm going to do a thin extrude. So I've got to select it right here. I'm going to select all my profiles. So I'll click on the circle and then on all the rays that we want. And then I'm going to click here on the clouds. And that looks pretty good. So let's see what we've got here. We are going to start from an offset, and we said our offset was -0.2. And we're going to come, instead of a distance, we're going to go to object, select the top of the fretboard. Now we're getting a warning here, but let's go ahead and fill in everything else. So 0.23 is our wall thickness, and our wall location is going to be centered, and we're doing a cut operation. So let's go ahead and do that. And, oh, you know what? We didn't want a cut operation. We wanted to do the body first. But the cut operation worked pretty good, but I don't like this ray right here, so I'm going to go back in and edit the feature. So I'm right-clicking on the timeline, going to Edit Feature. I don't want to do a cut. I want to do a new body. And in the Select, I'm going to try to unselect this ray right here, which looked like that worked. Okay, so if I hide the sketch, or hide all the sketches, looks like we've got a nice new body cut. Let's go ahead and name that F5 Inlay. But again, there's no slot for this to sit in. It's just, occupying the same space as our fretboard right now. So I'm going to go back to Appearance. I should have this black color. I can drag that into the F5 Inlay. And now we need to do a combine. And our target body is going to be the fretboard. Our tool body, essentially cutting the fretboard, is going to be this inlay body that we made. It's a cut operation, so we do OK, and now we've got a nice looking inlay. And the nice thing about this, doing separate sketches here for all of this, if I want to come back into fret 5, and for instance, I could get rid of that ray if I wanted to, but that one actually had the dimension on it. Probably shouldn't have done that, but anyway, let's hide the body for a second here. I just want to show you that if I don't like those clouds and I want to, mess around with those a little bit, I can easily do that, finish the sketch, and then with the beauty of parametric modeling, let's turn our body back on. There it is. We've got a modified image. I think, let's try to actually, without even getting into the sketch, I think we can actually drag this stuff and then let go, and you can see that the extrusion happens again. So this is really convenient in that you're changing your sketch kind of in real time, seeing it get refilled again. So one thing I just noticed here is the sun, the bottom part of this arc on the sun, should be clipped off, should be obscured by the clouds essentially. So for that, I'm going to go back into the F5 Inlay sketch, right click on that and edit the sketch, and now go to my trim tool, and let me hide the body so we can see it a little bit better here. I'm just going to hover over this portion of the circle and that portion of the circle. And I think I'm going to trim this guy away too. Okay. So let's finish the sketch. And there we go. The bottom part of that sun is clipped away. So that's basically how I do inlays. And it's worked out really well for me.